joining us to go all out on this story is Barangay Ginebra head coach Tim Cone. Coach Tim, good morning. Nice hat. Welcome back to Sports Desk. I know you just finished your workout.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back. Kind of wondering where we're all going to go from this point at this time.
Right? I know. When you felt, we were talking about this last time, when you felt that things are going back to normal, it's like a step forward. Now we take another step back. And I remember that conversation we had, Coach Tim, the last time we spoke, also here on CNN Philippines. It was right before the PBA Welcome Back the Fans. And yes. I recall you saying, we used that soundbite so many times. You were saying that we're going back to normalcy or having a sense of normalcy, a progress, a step forward. And then, oops, here we are. Everything is on pause again, rightfully so, as the cases start going up again. We still don't know when the league will resume the games. What are your thoughts about this? I want to get your thoughts now on going back to having a halt to the PBA with all these alarming cases rising in our country.
Well, it's obviously it's a real setback for our team and our players. We're at this point prevented from practicing, even doing workouts. So we're back to doing things on Zoom. So that's made it really difficult. I mean, it's kind of depressing because we were all so excited about getting back and playing in front of the fans, and it was great. It was great for those moments that we were able to play in front of the fans hear the Ginebra chants again. But I'm also hearing like the Japan League is postponing games, and the NBA is having a lot of problems. So I mean, we're not the only ones doing it. I'm hoping that I just talked to a doctor friend of mine today. I'm just hoping that, and he mentioned that, another month or 2 weeks or a month, we'll know what's more about this Omicron and what it's doing. And he hopes that it all burns itself out. So we'll see. We'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks or so.
Yeah, you're right. All we can do right now basically is just stay safe and stay healthy the best we can. Of course, when games do resume again in the PBA, we don't know yet if fans will be allowed back in the stands. You touched up on it, how exciting. I was there at Christmas Classic at the Big Dome. It was just ecstatic hearing the fans again chanting Ginebra. It's just different. It's just, I miss that. Talk about possibly losing the fans again. And let's face it, Coach, you have that advantage over your opponents. But now, without the fans again, because we know how much you guys feed off the energy of the fans in games.
Yeah, we really do. I mean, it's just, everything elevated when we walked out in that first game and when we had fans. You could just feel everything just elevate, the energy. You can feel the energy in the Coliseum. Maybe you don't see it so much on TV, but if you're actually there at the games, you really feel the energy changing and being different. And, it makes it obviously a lot easier for me as a coach because I don't have to motivate all the time. They get the chance to motivate. So they get motivated on their own pretty much. So it's just a different feel. And I'm hoping this doesn't last too long. We'll see. I mean, obviously it looks really bad at this point. Yeah. But I think we'll be able to get back in it.
Well, Coach, we don't know yet whether also the PBA games will resume in a closed circuit format or in a bubble, semi-bubble. But should the bubble happen again, we know it's going to be difficult, even if it isn't the first time you've done this. How it is. You even won a championship inside a bubble. Talk about possibly entering a bubble again and, how just, I know, just thinking about it. Right? Yeah, seeing your reaction.
I can't think of anything worse right now than going back into another bubble. I really can't think of it. I mean, you do what you have to do. Yeah. If we have to, we do it. But, it's not something we're all going to look forward to. It's been tough for the last 2 times we did it. And, but again, we want to continue to play and we want to continue to do our jobs and And so if we have to go into a bubble, we'll go into the bubble and we'll do the very best we can. But at this point, I'm fingers crossed that we won't have to do that.
And that means also at the bubble, no tennis games for you. But like what you said, you have to do what you have to do. There are things that we can't control. Now with games on pause, Coach Tim, that gives some of your guys more time to heal. I remember talking the other day to Coach Topex Robinson. It also kind of gives them, it's kind of a blessing in disguise for their import to heal, give more time to heal. Do you also see that the same way as a silver lining of the sudden break for your players that are injured to have more time to recover?
Well, I suppose, but not for this conference, really. I don't really foresee any of our injured getting back. I think Mark Kagila could come back fairly soon. And there's a possibility that Joe DeVance might come back. But Stanley is definitely out for the conference. JD is out for the conference. Aljon has suffered a setback. So, I'm not sure there's a silver lining particularly for us, but I'm sure there's a silver lining for some of the teams out there.
Well, speaking of the guys that are hurt, you recently confirmed that Stanley, and you just mentioned him, Stanley Pringle will miss the rest of the Governor's Cup after he got his surgery already on his left knee. At least he got surgery right away. How is Stanley doing? Have you spoken to him? Have you messaged him? Can you update on and what exactly happened to Stanley?
He's been bothered. People don't know this, but he's been bothered by a knees problem for
I see.
All the way back to the first bubble. Towards the end of the first bubble, he was having a lot of problem with his knee. We tried to just maintain it, and give him rest into the second bubble. But as soon as the second bubble started, he really started to have a lot of pain on that knee, and it was just something. And the couple of days before, it was announced that he went and saw the doctors. We were, as a coaching staff, looking at him running up and down the floor and saying, "Hey, he's really limping," But he was really trying to fight through it, and it's kind of good news, bad news. In the beginning, we heard that in the first diagnosis, he might have an ACL, and which would have put him out 6 to 8, maybe 10 months. And and then after some more talk and another MRI to look at it, and we found out that it was more of a meniscal problem. So he had meniscal surgery with the eye. When he actually had the surgery, they were thinking if he has the ACL, we'll repair it. If his ACL is intact, then we'll fix what needs to be fixed. And then when they went in, they found out it was a meniscal tear and not an ACL.
That's good.
So it's still about 3 months of rehab, though, before he can get back into playing.
Well, Coach, we still have a lot to talk about. Grab a glass of water, sit back, relax for a bit. We have to take a really quick commercial break, Coach Tim, but we still do have time to talk here on Sports Desk. Later, Coach Tim Cohn and I, we'll talk about his assessment of the team's performance so far in the PBA Governor's Cup. In case you just joined us, Barangay Ginebra head coach Tim Cohn is with us live via Zoom. Coach, despite all these injuries we were talking about earlier, Ginebra had been off to a solid start in the Governor's Cup, 3-1 so far, with that lone loss coming from the Manila Classico during Christmas Day. Unfortunately, Coach, we know you've had your share of really close calls in your 4 games. But overall, Coach Tim, what's your assessment of the team's performance so far?
Well, if you're only as good as your last game, we're not very good at that. That Christmas massacre really made us stand up and take a look at ourselves and realize there's still a lot of work to be done. We're not at the level of Magnolia at this point. Magnolia is playing incredible basketball.
Solid,
They look very confident. They're moving really well. Their import seems to be a great fit for them. But, we're still trying to figure ourselves out a little bit. We feel fortunate that we started off 3-0. We had a couple of games there that we could have lost. but
sure.
we showed some good character and hung tough and won them. And so that gives us a little bit of a leg up. It gives us a little bit of time to kind of work out some of the things we need to do. We need to do a better job of getting our big men involved. The offense that we're running now is really more guard oriented, and we're realizing, especially with Stanley's absence, we're going to need to go to Japeth and Christian a lot more, and to take the pressure off of Justin. And so that's something we're trying to investigate. A little difficult now because we're not able to practice, but when we get back to it, that'll be the focus, trying to figure out ways to get Christian and Japeth a little bit more involved.
Yeah.
But we still feel like on a scale of 1 to 10, we're maybe playing at a 5.5 or 6.
Wow. Yeah.
We still feel there's a lot more that we need to do and get better at.
Well, at least like what we've been talking about, there is still time, and we're at the pause. Although you can't really practice with the alert level 3 now. Coach, just a couple of weeks ago, I want to talk about this guy, Arvin Tolentino. He was named the Player of the Week by the PBA Press Corps. And I saw him. I also bumped into him when he was leaving the venue, the Big Dome, on Christmas Day. And I was just commending him. His confidence is up there. Talk about how much Arvin has stepped up in the absence of some of your key guys, your veterans, because we've seen how good this kid is, even back in college, even in high school. I've seen this kid play in San Beda. When he played in San Beda in high school, and then he went to Ateneo, then FEU in college. But also credit to you, props to you for just trusting this kid and unlocking, his potential. And I believe he still has a long way to go, but man, the confidence of this kid just to fire away whenever you need him.
Well, he's been special for us. We were really intent on trying to get him in the draft when he came out, and we got him late. Yeah. And we were so, we were trying to trade up for him, and we couldn't get the trade, and he ended up falling all the way down to us. So we kind of knew what we had right away. We've been close to the FEU program because of Coach Olson.
Yeah.
They've been a part of it, and Nash before that, and so we've been close to. So we knew a lot about Arvin when he came out. The thing that we wanted Arvin to do was take he was always a really dynamic mid-range shooter, kind of like a Jervy Cruz, if I may use an example. Yeah. And we've tried really hard to move him out to that 3-point shot because he's got great form. He has great confidence in that shot. So we just tried to move him back a little bit and make him be a 3-point shooter. So we worked really hard on trying to make him make that conversion. You got to remember, he was a stretch 4 in college.
That's right.
And now he's playing the 2 for us, the off guard position. So it's really, it's really been a process for him. I thought he came out and played really well in the first bubble for us. But in the second bubble, I thought maybe he got a little comfortable in what he was trying to do. We wanted him to keep pushing and moving forward. And this conference, the preparation coming into this conference, he was pushing hard every day. They're early, working with the coaches, really working on learning how to be that perimeter guy, when to take that shot, how to get to that shot. There's a process that's involved in it, and he has completely embraced it, and he's really showing. And as you said, I think he's just scratching the surface, the potential that he has. I mean, he's got more than ability just to shoot threes. He can get to the rim. He can handle the ball. He sees the court. He can defend different kinds of players. He could be I don't even want to say it, but I will. Yeah, I kind of compare him to a Klay Thompson. He has that kind of ability.
No, I get what you're saying. And of course, you're Tim Cohn. No one will challenge what you say when it comes to basketball. But I get what you're saying. We just saw that highlight of him stealing the ball. He also has good defensive awareness, Arvin Tolentino. And he can knock down that 3. He had, I think, 4 against Magnolia on Christmas Day. Unfortunately, it was a loss. But Coach, we know also a lot has been said about how good Justin Brownlee is. He is your let's say, like a security blanket, and he's just really comfortable in your system. Your locals as well. He is your resident import for a reason. He's had so much success with you guys. But talk about Brownlee's importance now, especially since you've got a lot of guys, including one of your top scoring locals out with injury. And, there must be, like, as we take a look at his numbers right now on our screens, 27 points per game, 10 boards a game, 5.3 assists per game. Let's talk about Justin Brownlee, Coach, and how he has to level up even more with missing a lot of key guys for you.
Yeah, he does, and he knows that. And again, that's what we talked about earlier about, and we need to get Christian and Japeth more involved to take some pressure off of Justin because there's a big load on him right now, especially with Stanley out of the lineup. LA has taken a little bit of the load in the last few games, and that's helped a lot. But, we need to get more of a balance around the whole team. Arvin, as we spoke of earlier, has taken a lot of the load as well. What makes Justin special is that he's a great player, but even more so, he's a great person. I mean, it's hard to, I understand how great a guy he is. He's just so much fun to be around. And I think that more than anything makes us, almost, special when he's here, because there's just such a great feel of chemistry going on in the team. The chemistry we have really elevates our play, and largely it's because of him. He's just such a great guy. Yeah. He works so hard as well, and he takes the challenge every night. You might be able to get him. One thing about Justin is that I've seen this throughout his career. Someone will come out and play a really good defense against him, or a special defense, and then you think, well, I got his number finally, or the league starts saying, oh, I think I got his number. And then the next game out, he just comes out and just lights it up, and it's just that response that he has every time is just amazing to me. He'll have his off nights every once in a while. Just, there's some nights where we always kid him, if you played like that all the time, you'd be changed. We always kid him that. You tell him that. It only lasts for a game, and the next 5 games, he's like Superman again. So, if you sometimes you watch him just for that one game, you think, why is this guy in the league? Yeah. But the next 5, he just is the best player ever. So, he just his response game in and game out is just really amazing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward actually to that next game before we shifted back to alert level 3, because I know.
I tell you, I think teams, when they see him play badly, they're like, uh-oh. Yeah. I don't want to play him next.
That Christmas Classico is like after that game, your next game. And let's talk about the remaining schedule. And I really also agree with when you said he has a great attitude, because I always see Justin smiling. It's just, he's just a nice guy. Your remaining schedule, Coach Tim, will not get easier, though. Among the teams that you've yet to face, let's go through them. You have the San Miguel Beermen, then the Meralco Bolts, then the Intellectual Warriors, and then you have TNT. Whew, what else does Ginebra need to, Coach, adjust moving forward to get through these teams I just mentioned to, reach the playoffs and defend your crown in this conference?
Well, you don't look too far in the schedule. You don't worry about too much, because it can look pretty much uphill when you're doing that. Now, right now, we just got to be focused on the old cliche is one game at a time, and that's why it's a cliche, because it's said over and over again. And there's a fundamental truth to it. You've always got to play that thing, one game at a time, and. Again, it's all about, how we work and how we do our preparation and day in, day out in practice. I'm not talking about preparation in terms of video or game planning or anything. I'm talking about the day-to-day preparation that you do of creating habits in practice, of making sure your work ethic is there every day. And if you're doing that, then you're going to be improving. Then you're going to be improving what you're doing. And it's that day in, day out process that you've got to be focused on. Yeah. So we don't really look at the schedule. Where, like I said, we feel fortunate that we're 3-1. Yeah. I said going into the Magnolia game that told the team that this is probably the best team we're going to see all year, or all conference. This team Magnolia, they're really playing at a really high level. So, we'll see what we can do with the other teams. But at this point, it's just really our day-to-day and how well we do. And that'll decide on how well we play these tough teams.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Always a pleasure, and I always enjoy our conversations. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you again for taking time after playing tennis. Stay safe. Regards to the family. And I like that hat still.
We normally are practicing right during this time. We always have a 10 to 1 practice.
I know.
Daily practice.
Yeah.
So I happen to be out doing nothing at this point. So glad to be talking to you.
Thank you. And I still want that hat of yours. Well, have a great week, Coach. We just had Barangay Ginebra head coach Tim Cone.